Good afternoon. The word for today is thrival. In life, you're either a survivor or you're a thriver. There's survival, and then there's thrival. And my idea worth spreading is thrival. Ladies and gentlemen, the world as we know it may be coming to an end. Don't worry, not today, and maybe not tomorrow. But as we speak, thousands of Americans are prepping for disasters ranging from nuclear war to invasions by Martians. Now, not all these folks anymore are little old men wearing tin hats. Some of these survivalists are coal miners in Kentucky who are digging bunkers in their backyards. And they're tech billionaires in Silicon Valley who are buying condominiums in bomb-proof silos in Kansas. But rich or poor, they all have one objective. They're going to survive with their families on less when the day of doom arrives. They have some rules for this, and some of their rules of survival or prepping are these. 1, carry cash, because on the day that the S hits the fan, as they like to say, there'll be no banks. Number 2, put up food and other provisions, because on that day there will be no grocery stores. And number 3, hide your identity. Why? Because on the day of destruction, your enemies will come looking for you and your cash and your food. Okay, I get it. The world is a dangerous place. Terrorism, cyber threats, identity theft. I understand, I think we all understand, the natural urge, the natural desire to protect ourselves and our families. This is an example of what is called an EDC, an everyday carry. The survivalists carry these with them at all times, and they contain some water and some food and a first aid kit. Not a bad idea, I'd say. I think I'm going to put this one in the back of my car. But long before the current preppers were getting ready for the day of doom, there were other survivalists in this country. They were people who hid money in their pockets and buried coins in their yards. They found food, and they put it up for hard times. And they kept themselves small and quiet, lest someone bigger and stronger put them in their place, either emotionally or worse, physically. And who were those brave preppers, those original survivors? Ladies and gentlemen, they were the women of America. We have done more as a group than any other folks in this country. We have done more with less than anyone. Statistics tell us that we will live 10 years longer on average than our husbands and our brothers, but we will make 20% less for the same work. And it took us 150 years almost to convince this country that we love to give us the vote. How about that? Talk about being a survivalist, right? And oh, by the way, remember Mom's pocketbook? This EDC is just an amped up version of what everyone saw on their mother's arm, which always had a juice box, a Band-Aid, and a bag of Cheerios. What the preppers are learning, though, and what women have known all along, is that survival is tough business. Every day, you have to get up and provide for your family. And every night, you have to sleep with one eye open, thinking about what terror may befall you the next day. And if there is a face of survival in this country, it's the face of a single mother with school-aged children who cannot afford daycare. To that woman, the loss of the power grid that the preppers fear so greatly is not nearly as scary as the fact that next month she may not be able to pay her electrical bill. And identity theft, well, to that single mom, it almost might be a relief. A new identity might be a better life for her. So, I think it's fair to say that the women of America, a lot of them, are simply tired of merely surviving. They are anxious to get to what I call THRIVAL. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to take 3 rules of survival and turn them into 3 rules of THRIVAL. Here we go. All right. First rule, carry cash. Ladies, if you hear nothing else from me today, hear this. Money, all things considered, is power. You need your own money, your own separate money. My grandmother inherited money, and she used to call it her independence. I never really understood that until I made my own money. And having my own separate money allowed me to escape an abusive relationship. And on 2 occasions, it allowed me to tell a boss, listen, buddy, if you don't change your ways, you can take this job and shove it. And you know what? He knew that I was serious. And why? Because I had my own money. I could leave. I had some independence. So whether you work outside of the home or not, remember this, you need your own separate funds. Number 2, put up provisions for the future. Ladies, we got this one covered. 3 words, double coupon day. Every woman knows that when the peanut butter's on sale, you stock up. Enough said. Number 3, this 3rd rule of survival is to hide your identity. Ladies, for too long, we have been too small. We need to open ourselves up. We've got to stand up, we've got to speak up, and we've got to vote up. I said earlier that we make less money than men over our lifetime. You know how much it is? On average, it's almost $500,000 that we don't earn for the same job. Why is that? Studies show in part it's because women don't advocate for their value in the workplace. Well, we got to stop that. We have to speak up. And when we speak up, we have to find others who will speak up too as our advocates. We have to look for politicians, for political candidates who will support the 3 pillars of thrivalism for women: equal rights, equal pay, and reproductive freedom. And what I mean by that is simply this. We should have the right to decide when we have children and how many, because if we don't have that right, if we don't have that independence, we can never really be economically independent. In the last presidential election, almost 46% of the qualified voters in this country did not vote. Think about that. What if all the women got together and decided they were going to champion candidates that could move them from survival into thrival? Ladies, there's only one place in America today where you're absolutely equal to a man, and that is in the voting booth. Your vote, no matter how poor you are, counts just as much as the vote of Bill Gates, the wealthiest man in America. So you need to vote up. Now, folks are going to say to you when you stand up and you speak up and you vote up, what are you doing? How dare you? And what you say is this: I don't want what you have. I'm not looking to take anything away from you. I just want what I deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, there's only one thing wrong with what I've said today. I fear that the women who could get the most from this message will not hear it. They're simply too busy surviving to take time to listen to a podcast or to watch a YouTube video. But you know what? You and I are here together today. And maybe, just maybe, this message is meant for one of you. So for those of you who are in a position where you're thriving, I ask you to consider this. Think about looking back over your shoulder and reaching out your hand for someone who is struggling to survive. And if you are someone who hasn't reached THRIVAL yet, if you're struggling, I ask you to look for that hand and grab it when it comes along. You see, THRIVAL isn't just a word I made up. It's actually something I believe in as a way of life. THRIVAL, that's my idea, worth sharing. Thank you.